I have in my hands here two rather beautiful reproduction Urnfield swords, both made by Neil Burridge. And those of you who are familiar with the Roman gladius might think, well, this is quite similar surely to a Roman gladius. And yes, this seems to be the forerunner of the Gladius Hispaniensis, which is the earliest form of Roman short sword. They're remarkably light. I was very surprised picking this up, knowing that bronze is heavier than iron. I was expecting it to feel a little bit heavy in my hand, but it oh so definitely does not. This feels very light. It weighs 2 pounds. We tried it on the kitchen scales. One point I want to make very clear is that this is not a counterweighted pommel. This may look like a solid bit of metal on the end, but it's not. This is hollow. It's light. It gives you grip on the sword. You could bash someone in the face with it, but it's not a counterweight for the blade. This example you can see is riveted, and later on we get longer examples like this fella with his rather pretty pommel there. Again, it's not for a counterweight though. There's a general move towards they're getting longer, but you can't say that later swords are longer than earlier swords. They get longer, they get shorter. It's clearly personal preference and local fighting style, and whatever else you're using them in combination with are all factors. So perhaps some were used with larger shields, some with smaller, some in tighter formations, some in looser, and so forth. By and large, it's thought that longer swords tend to be better for duelling, and shorter swords tend to be better in very dense formations of men. This one here, you'll notice, does not have a riveted handle, and instead the blade and the handle, up until this point at least, are all one piece. So this is quite a bit stronger. It's also a little bit heavier, but it only really feels heavy. We tried it on the kitchen scales, and again it came out at just around 2 pounds. This feels, though, a lot heavier in the hand, because the balance of it is up here, and doing that movement there, I can feel there's a lot more effort involved, whereas with this turns in the hand very quickly. Clearly the shape of the blade tells you that it's both for chopping and stabbing, and I have every reason to believe that it would be very effective at both. Now, I've just been talking to Mick Skelly, and he reckons that this might have been used with a sort of punching action, so that rather than stabbing straight ahead and then pulling straight out again, you have more of a sort of punching action so that the thrust cuts its way into a wound and then cuts its way out. So the lower blade here cuts in and the upper blade cuts out. So you end up with a much wider gash in your opponent, and you can keep this sort of this guard position and suddenly punch in and out and damage your opponent that way. A very handy weapon, and it's a Bronze Age short sword.